There we have it. Welcome to the Baxter Effect Podcast. Your host, John Baxter, and we have another exciting episode. Now, if this is the first time you've seen our show or my podcast, please like, subscribe, and check out some of my other podcasts. People know me for the medbed release and this medbed technology that's made and created here in America. So if you have any questions, there's hang tight. Check out some of my videos and you'll see what I'm about. I'm an inventor with over 100 technologies, and we've helped tens of thousands of people with the futuristic healthcare and advanced health technology of the future today. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and start with our program today. And our program is about this very exciting topic. And, it's in regards to why people operate at a different level. And we think, why would someone basically have so much more that they can achieve and do, where it appears they're doing the same, they're living the same life, but yet some people can do so much more in 24 hours than someone that appears to be doing just a lot less. And so, I'd like to start this by saying, let's just be open and honest. We've all seen this, and we all have the same 24 hours. We live in the same world. We have likely the same stress. But the output, the way we function and the way we manage and handle this stress, there is a completely different output on many different individuals. So regardless, that's our talking point today. And what we realize is just that some people just do not perform better. But some people operate on this higher level, and it appears to be a different system. And so that's a great talking point here. I'd like to just grab something right here. This was my understanding a long time ago with my book, The Medbed Story. This is my first book. I started in 2011. The Medbed Story is to end human suffering. And in this book, I talk about, you'll see it in all caps, is this thing called system. The system of humanity, the system that we operate upon. And so we have this man-made system. We have this made-up man-made world that has its own understandings, their own per se truths. But then there's this natural world. There's this organic natural world. If we just live in the rainforest, there's a whole system in place. A whole fundamental understanding that we're missing. So just realize when I say when we're operating at different levels and systems, it's obvious in that scenario I just gave. But for the day in and day out person, they just don't understand that, right? So, they dig a little deeper. That's what I would like for you guys to focus upon, is like the system. So if we see Big Pharma as a system, there's an understanding there. It's almost an indoctrination, because most of it doesn't make any sense. But the only thing that does make sense is that they're going to be charging you. There's not a focus on root, but in this system that we're living as just as citizens, as family, as friends, as co-workers, as citizens, we all really need to know that we're all operating from different systems and perspectives. And so the false story. Let's talk about the false story. Because when we talk about why is Tom Brady such at a higher level than even some of the regular NFL first round draft picks? Why is he operating at this just insane higher level? Well, some people, especially in modern medicine or even modern psychology, they would say, this is the false story, but this is what people say. It's genetics. It's just based on his discipline. It's only about his hustle. It's just because he's motivated. And so, like, a lot of times, like, those are the 4 types of things that people usually talk about when it comes to why someone might be operating at a higher level. And you got to think about it. If it's just a discipline, wouldn't everyone kind of be an elite? We all went to the same school system. So it can't be just discipline of why someone is playing or operating at an elite, thought process. So this brings us to something you need to know. It's like, there's a famous quote from Aristotle. And basically it is, we are what we repeatedly do. So that excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Our habits create everything. And so if you have the habit of kind of just taking a break all the time, that's a habit you formed. It has nothing to do with genetics. The discipline there is that people are focusing on not doing what they set out to, but their discipline is doing the opposite. So, realize there's truth in the fact that habits come from what we per se a system. It's not always just willpower, but the reality shifts comes from when high performers don't just rely on effort alone. It's not about just effort. It's you could say that, oh, I'm in my career and all I need to do is work harder. And if I work harder, I will achieve this greatness. But the reality is, after 20, 30 years of that, you may have only gotten a couple dollar raise. You may have just basically created a prison for yourself. So high performers don't rely just on effort. And of course, part of it is the habits that they create. They rely on what we call state. The reality is you don't rise from the level of your goals. You fall to your level of systems. And that's from James Clear. Realize that when you're in a business, when you're in a athletic team, when you are in academics, when you are playing at high levels, what happens when things go wrong? Well, you fall back to your level of system. That's the key that you need to realize today. So, what level is your system operating on will oftentimes depend on where you're at in achieving your goals, right? And most people realize that their system is broken. And I came from this. I came from a broken system. I came from a broken neck, which created a broken mental capacity, which created a lot of stress, anxiety. And you realize, well, my system was broken. There was a physical system broken that created an energetic and an emotional level brokenness. And so it wasn't, it was something that, to get to the next level, I really had to focus on my health. And, they always say, if you can heal yourself, you can heal the world. But a lot of people want to heal the world without healing themselves. And so that's another reason why people's system's broken. They're out here living in the three-dimensional reality and looking at everyone else's success and, not catching that. So if this was fishing, if I have any fishermen out there or people that want to know about it, every time you see a splash, do you stop what you're doing and you throw it in the splash? And why is that person never catching any fish? It's because they're not focused on what is required to catch the fish. If they're only just shooting for what appears to be the place where the fish are, oftentimes they're not catching any fish. And so that is a level of piercing out into the veil of reality and thinking that the answer is out there, when oftentimes there's an invisible difference. And that invisible difference, basically, it's basically controlling things that most people ignore. So if you think like, well, if I'm controlling things that most people ignore, is that how those people got to that elite status? You often have to question things. And that's why people question reality. Well, why is that person achieving that level? Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes certain things. But an overwhelming response, it comes from your habits. And not only that, it comes from controlling things that most people ignore. What? Your breath, your breathing, right? This body, last I checked, and the brain works on oxygen. So your cognitive behavior is completely affected by your pattern of breathing. When you look at the oxygen enhancement that you get from oxygen in the brain, the cognitive effect, how much of your oxygen is basically being absorbed, how much of your oxygen is actually being utilized. Well, last I checked, most people are living in a shallow breathing fear state. And that's how we're easily able to be controlled as a society or as an individual. We're breathing in a short pattern, which means we live in fear. And if you're living in fear, it's very difficult to perform and reach that elite status. The other thing is like your sleep cycles. You look at people that are overweight. People that are overweight tend to not sleep that much. They tend to not exercise during the day and stay up all night. So, if you're a guy that's pretty much online a hater, or you're pretty much out there just hating on people, well, your energy might be off, but maybe you want to achieve that level. But what if it was something as simple as your oxygen level and your sleep cycle? And this has everything to do with healing yourself before helping others. How much of the recovery are you getting during restful states? Is your nervous system out of whack or overstressed? Is stress overwhelming you? So, when we look at the system, it's not the stress that kills us. Essentially, it's our reaction to it. So, if our reaction to stress is that it kills us and that it's painful, well, that is your perceived version of how you deal with stress. For someone that can deal with a lot of stress, this goes back to being like what you consider a man, a masculine man. How much stress could a man take before he breaks? This is oftentimes the measuring stick and the rule between a man that's strong and a man that's weak. And so, if your reaction to massive stress it is basically being aloof, and you're able to not only be at that level, but you're able to function just as clear as if nothing happened, you view stress very much differently than the average person. So, elite people don't just remove stress, because you can't. There's many CEOs out there, whether they're under stress or they're not stressful. There's plenty of CEOs out there that don't take stress personally. Or they don't take stress, what I would say, too seriously. They just control the response. And so there's a reality there that I hope you're taking notes, because when we see, per se, Tom Brady, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, in the most critical times, 10 seconds left of the 7th game of the NBA Finals or the Super Bowl, there's one last play, right? Well, if they're under so much stress and they perceive their stress as holding back their function and motor skills, they're going to fail. But that's why we give so much credit to the GOATs, greatest of all times. Because under stress, they can control their response. And they play to win. So when we look at systems in place, what could we achieve or what could we take from this? As an entrepreneur, I picked a path that was likely one of the toughest paths to take. Even tougher than becoming an NFL athlete, per se. Because an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur for life. No one's cheering us on. No one really cares. A lot of people are not cheering us on. There's a lot of stress. And it's your response to it that will oftentimes tell whether you will achieve your goal or even succeed in your quest. And so there is a lot of information here that comes out each and every week and each and every year about how the science of stress is being run by your nervous system. As you know, your nervous system is running everything. At the most stressful level, at the survival mode, this is where it's fight or flight. This is considered your sympathetic side of your nervous system. In America, most people live in the sympathetic survival mode. It's obvious that we drive a car, and if we don't focus for 1 second on driving, we could get in a wreck and kill everyone. There are certain survival characteristics that we understand with this human body. One is if a bear or a lion comes up to us in the wild, we simply turn into a sympathetic survival mode, and we're worried about death, we're worried about fear. We have a fear in us. And that survival mode is where we're currently running all day, every day. Our cortisol levels go through the roof. And so the science is, what's the opposite of a sympathetic survival mode? Well, we all could achieve this recovery understanding. The recovery side of the survival mode, which is the opposite, is the parasympathetic. So this is when you're fully relaxed, you're fully engaged with your body, you're breathing effortlessly and deeply. You're not just doing the shallow breathing from the lungs, just barely breathing, barely getting oxygen to the brain. But yet, this is why this is so hard. That most Americans are not living, even when they sleep, in a parasympathetic way. And so one of the things I like to tell people to do is just quickly look at your hands. You want to sleep better? You want to bring yourself back to parasympathetic? You want someone to do some muscle testing and voodoo magic on you to find out what's going on with your system? And I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying. Or do you want to just simply bring yourself back to parasympathetic, which is that relaxing recovery phase? It's easy to do. You basically put your hand on your heart and your diaphragm, and you simply breathe. You simply breathe and feel where your hands are located. It's good to put your hands where they need to be located and really know that you're touching your body. Because why? Because parasympathetic means coming back to your body. Because guess what? If I chop my head off and I figured out that the parasympathetic was all in my mind, and that this whole world is outside of myself and I'm caught in my head, that's survival mode, folks. I've been there. I've been there with the best of them. But realize, and within 30 seconds or a minute or if you do this for a couple minutes a day, knowing that you do have a heart and it's right between your lungs, knowing that you do have a diaphragm that's helping you breathe and expand and contract your breathing, the ability to slowly breathe in and breathe out in a systematic way will bring you back to yourself. Your body will bring you out of fear. And so parasympathetic is that quick and easy. And don't stop breathing deeply, and don't stop connecting with your body. Because as soon as I release here, the breathing comes back. As soon as something happens, there's a car wreck, I get stuck in my head. Now, I'm trying to navigate this world through a fear lens, the lens of fear, scarcity, and survival. So many people can't sleep because what? They're caught in their head, and they're not focused, even realizing they have a body. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The body does keep score. It keeps a score. And the scoreboard doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. And realize, what could you do every night to bring yourself back into recovery, back into the parasympathetic? Well, let me let you in on an invention that I created. Now, the first rendition of this was the first FDA-cleared mattress in the history of the United States. And so what we have here is a cutoff of the biohacking mattress. Now, this mattress uses plant-based foams, memory foam. This is gray. This is a little plastic that's dated, but that's gray carbon-infused foam. And this cover is bioceramic threads. Bioceramic threads that have basically rare earth minerals adheres to the actual thread and create it into a fabric. This offers you far infrared by just laying on it. The conductive foam offers heat dissipation. The first layer of memory foam offers pressure relief along with the carbon-infused foam. And the support foam offers you support and comfort throughout the night. The fact that this is a plant-based foam makes this the 1% of the 1% in America. What do you mean, sir? Well, because this is one of the only products that has no cancer-causing chemicals. We use European standards where they banned anything that is even a known carcinogen from even putting it in a product. Here in America, they're telling you to add proven cancer-causing carcinogens to the mattress. Even in America, they force you to put cancer-causing carcinogens in the mattress because it's federally mandated to lay on a mattress full of off-gassing with chemicals that have formaldehyde, with the fire retardant material in the layer. And hear me out. Oh, I have an organic mattress. Let me answer your question there. If you have an organic mattress, the likelihood that it has cancer-causing chemicals in it is extremely high. Now, just because you eat organic spinach or organic food from Whole Foods doesn't mean the same level goes to a mattress. A mattress cannot be FDA approved. It can only be FDA cleared because it's a product. A piece of food is something you ingest. And the standards and stuff you ingest are higher than other things because you're putting it through your digestive system. And realize when we see an organic cover, if this cover was organic, they greenwash the mattress industry. The whole rest could be a cancer-causing chemical, but because the cover is organic, they call it an organic mattress. So be on the lookout. This is one of the most amazing products in the market, very affordable, Even though I believe it's the best mattress, I believe it's the best value. That's what I was seeking. The most bang for your buck. It has a 20-year warranty, no cancer-causing chemicals. And they say, well, what if there is... the cool thing is, it's not using any type of harmful fire retardancy material. And it was even proven in Europe to not have any cancer-causing chemicals. So I've seen products on the market where people are diverting the attention away, saying there's off-gassing and this. That's to divert you from the real truth that probably has cancer-causing chemicals. And that type of marketing is what I despise. That's why I created the first FDA-cleared mattress in 2020. It was a hard run, and I was the first guy to do it in the United States. And I was the first guy to put a proven FDA-cleared far-infrared technology into the mattress cover. And since then, I have more patents, of course, grounding. So our grounding bed cover, which you can see here, it comes in pillowcases, blankets, and bed sheets, and a bed cover. It comes with a canopy if you want it. And this is the anti-aging pillowcase even. These all go around your current mattress. Whether you want this mattress or you don't want this mattress, you can buy the grounding bed cover, pillowcase, blanket, or canopy and put it on your existing mattress. So that's what I completely recommend. If you need a great mattress, you would buy this and buy the bed cover to put around it. This is called the biohacking mattress. And what we're doing for a limited time is offering this for 50% off. Just to ship this, it costs $275 with FedEx or UPS. So think about, this is a high quality product with a 20-year warranty. And the amazing aspect is it has proven health benefits inside of it, along with the grounding technology that goes around it. This is the first rendition of what we had, that we created a grounding patented product. So that's what we have today, folks. Take advantage of this offer. And let's just keep going. So, as you can see, with your system, if it's stuck in survival, your performance level is stuck. It's hitting a ceiling. The place that you need to look when you realize, wow, if my system is stuck, I'm maxed out, I'm capped per se, with what I can achieve or what I can endure and what I can do, well, you're stopping your own God-given potential at this point. Because survival mode is fear mode. And with the perception of fear, if everything is fear, everything is shallow breathing. Everything is less cognitive behavior. And if everything is less cognitive behavior and everything is fear, you'll be, with your perception, you'll be inclined to do things that don't bring you to the elite status, the elite level that you want to be. And it's doing nothing more than utilizing your own perception against you. You are your own worst enemy. And isn't that the truth? We are our own worst enemy. When we look out into the world, does it honestly and actually exist the way we see it? Or does the world just keep going? So, I want you guys to know that high performers just don't guess. They measure. They track. There's certain things that you can do to get your breathing quality up, your overall recovery better, your breathing more in tune with your body. A lot of people track it. There's plenty of ways to track your sleep. But you just got to know, and I said this time and time again with our medbed technology, what gets measured can get managed. People aren't managing per se much. They're only guessing. So, Could I offer you any good insight today? And I would say, sorry. Can I offer you any real insight today? This is the environmental secret. This is the real edge. They don't just control behavior, they control the environment. Isn't this the medbed theory? We didn't create a product. We didn't force this product to be created. All we did was create the environment for health to exist in a perfectly optimal level. So, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And that's what we call today as your habits, as your perception, as your healing, as your own personal healing, as your level of controlling the elements of healing. And then thus, you heal yourself, you find out what you want to do with the world and you do it. You heal yourself, you'll be able to heal others. And that is the real core thing. That we talk about being a healer, it just doesn't make sense with so many people. One, you see coaches all the time. Everyone wants to be your coach today. People that haven't even had a stressful moment is now wants to be a coach for a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And that's not saying that they don't have the passion or they don't have the tenacity to do it. But basically, what could you offer someone if you haven't been through it yourself? So people are always looking for coaches, but as a coach, you need to have gone through the gauntlet to make yourself, turn your pain into passion, to turn your pain and your versatility into something of substance. And that is the true reality. It's the way we perceive stress. So if you change the environment, you can change the outcome. And here's the bridge. Here's the bridge for today's talk, because we talked about a lot of things in regards to the system. What system are you operating on? Well, in healthcare, what system are you operating on? Are you operating from the big pharma scenario? Very little common sense, more focus on crushing the symptom, never taking care of the root cause? Or are you a systematic understanding would be the medbed bridge, controlling the outcome by basically changing the environment? Now imagine this. Instead of fixing one thing, you adjust the entire system at once. You want to achieve this elite status and never look back? Focus on your oxygenation, your breathing patterns, your circulation, your nervous system. Where are you setting? Are you in the parasympathetic, sympathetic? Where's your recovery at? Are you actually recovering? And when you adjust the entire system, something happens. You become more unified. You become more cognitive. You become something that stress just can't control. And if you can remove stress, take advantage of the tools at hand. Just like the biohacking mattress, just like the anti-aging bed that we covered. It's your first line. It's the first habit in the pattern of behaviors that's positive. If you can sleep well, think about this, you can feel better, you can achieve more of what you want during the day versus sleeping less, gaining weight, allowing the environment to control you. What was the quote? Basically, 95% of the things that happen to you are roughly 5% of the reality of the things that you could achieve. So if you look at reality like this, if everything that happens to you is going to predict your outcome, shouldn't you jump on this understanding and realize that the things that happen to you are only really 5% of your possible outcome, not 95%? That's the victim mentality and the victim behavior that's keeping all of us down. And when you become a victim, you oftentimes become a hater. You become a victim, you think you know everything. If you become a victim, what does any of that have to do with your personal elite status to achieve your human God-given potential that was destined for you? So realize this is much more than just saying you're going to optimize yourself. This is the system of control that I'm explaining. So just realize this, you're not just underperforming, you're running the wrong system. And in health, we're running a system that's a race. We're all in a race. We're in a race in our current healthcare system to create the best technologies that offer the fastest way to get your systems back online. And this system is the fastest way to put your body in the proper environment that it can do much easier what it was supposed to do. You can't rationally heal yourself. You can't. You can't say rationally force myself to heal. Just doesn't work. You have to let yourself go. You have to be in a state of relaxation. You have to be in a parasympathetic state. And you have to hang out there longer than what you hoped, so that you could achieve this level of energy, to achieve this level of cognitive behavior, so that you don't become the victim. And, that's what I was saying. Like, what I'm trying to say today, it's the difference isn't how talented you are, it's the conditions. Put yourself in the proper position to succeed in life versus letting the outcomes dictate your conditions. And there you have it. Thank you for joining the Baxter Effect Podcast. And one last thing, it really helps when you subscribe, like, share, comment. There are people out in the world that need to hear this message today. And if you do, and you comment, free book, in the comments below, you'll get this book, a PDF version that you can read. It's over 600 pages. It's called The Originators of the Medbed. And because of this, you'll have over 15,000 cited links. You'll get a book that tells the cited work of the 333 benefits of our original technology grounding and how we became the most futuristic health technology in the world, winning many awards, being featured on many different levels. And of course, the first book we talked about too, you can get this book as well. The Medbed Story, how we got here. This is all about healing. This was all about when I broke my neck and didn't get the surgery. This was all about unlocking your limitless potential. Realizing that no one's coming to save you. That for once, like we're saying, the elite status of people, they're coming to save themselves. God, if you want to talk about God, and God helps those that helps themselves, honestly. Because if you're not trying to help yourself, and you're not making the right decisions, then you're not truly, truly helping yourself. You're allowing your conditions to control you, but you're not putting yourself in the position with the proper conditions to give you what you want in life. So I hope that all makes sense, guys, and thank you for this next episode of the Baxter Effect Podcast. And if you want to know more, check us out. We've got plenty of information on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We have our own podcast, the Baxter Effect Podcast. And I wanted to thank you once again. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, have a great day.